and I just love it because I feel like almost like I'm at the barbershop again, like I'm like kicking it with my friends, and I wanted to take that and be able to bring it to the financial services industry because I felt like a lot of content that I saw like early on like felt like it just felt like snooty.
Let's talk about you as the face of the future of our profession. So real quick before we get in, they've already heard a quick introduction to who you are, but I want to give you the opportunity to tell your story and let everybody know who Odaro is. So real quick, kind of give your backstory, and then I want to talk about you as the face of the future and learning more about why you came in to be an advisor. So tell everybody about yourself, who you are, where you're from, school, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, my name's Odaro Aisueni, and I think my name kind of sets it off. I'm Nigerian. It's where both my parents immigrated from. So dad immigrated to the U.S., I think, like mid to late 70s. And then him and my mom got married around like mid to late 80s or so. So I'm the youngest of four. I have three older siblings. Oldest sister, Isoken. She's a nurse practitioner. Oldest brother, Ui, just graduated from medical school. Super proud of him. And then my other older brother, Osage, is married in Austin. And I really think it's always important to like explain who those people are because I really wouldn't be who I am without my siblings. Like I think my siblings are literally the greatest siblings in the whole entire world. Grew up in Houston, Texas. Obviously, you guys can see the candy paint slabs in the back, but that's my hometown. Rep it to the fullest, and graduated from a really cool high school. If I'm not mistaken, I think like the Houston Chronicle did like an article on the specific high school that I went to. It was like the most diverse high school in the greater Houston area. I think it was like 65 different countries that were represented in my high school. So like I really do attest a lot of who I am. And I think it even ties into the financial planning side of things to where I grew up, just being a really diverse area. Then I went to Texas Tech University. That's where I studied personal financial planning. That's how I kind of got interested and, really got I'll leave a little bit of that story for later, but that's how I got into financial planning and now live in St. Louis. I work for PlanCorp, which is a registered investment advisor. We manage a little under $6 billion of assets under management, depending on what day, because obviously markets fluctuate. But yeah, so I'm a financial planner here and yeah, write a blog, nomoneymoproblems.com. Have a podcast that's coming out soon. No Money, Mo Problems podcast. And that's really it. Yeah, I think it's a good rundown of who I am, what I'm about. Love rap music. Oh, also I DJ on the side. Yeah, that's it. I'm done rambling.
Oh, and you are spitting some hot fire for us at the very end. We were getting a freestyle because that's how this episode happened. You mentioned something about wanting to freestyle. And I'm like, on my podcast, first one. So yes, and the blog, No Money, Mo Problems, is how I initially discovered you. So I forget the blog post, but obviously me loving hip hop, the name jumped out to me, like all about your Benjamins, no money, no problems. It was destined we were going to connect. But I love the post. I loved you wrote it. And what I love so much about it is like with one read, I felt like I knew who you were, which is a big part of why I think content is so important. It allows people to build those relationships. And within one read, I had to feel who you were. And I knew I would like you, and I also knew you were a young advisor, and I was like, I got to do my part to make sure Odaro stays in this game, because at the time you were still in school. You were interning at PlanCorp, but you were still in school. Mm-hmm. So I love the name of the blog. That's how we are. And then I like how early on in your blog and in your career, you've actually already started to write a little bit and take a stance. I remember you wrote about not wanting to be like the token black advisor or something to that extent. And I forget what you called it. I should have researched it, but I thought that was a very brave piece to write as somebody new to PlanCorp, new to the profession, trying to find your space in this profession and attract clients. And it'd be very easy for people to just kind of fall back and be quiet, but you took it head on, and I really like that and respected it even more. So I do want to circle back to, you went to Texas Tech, one of the premier financial planning schools in the country.
Yes, sir.
Did you go there because of financial planning, or did you get there and then that's when you found it? Tell us how you came to be attracted to the profession and what pulled you in.
Yeah, so I did not go to Texas Tech for financial planning, which I feel like most people don't. Hopefully, we're changing that because it is a great program, or most undergrad students in the program don't come to Texas Tech for it, but usually a lot of our PhD and master students, a lot of people around the nation, really the world, actually come to study under some of our professors. But with that being said, I actually started off as an engineering major. So for my other Nigerians out there, they'll definitely understand. Growing up as a Nigerian kid, you only got a few options. In the beginning, you can either be an engineer, doctor, and I always tell people if you're lucky, they'll let you go to law school. So I started off engineering, but then I realized I liked people a little too much. So I was originally going to switch to business finance, but one of my roommates at the time that I knew from church, Brock Hedgecock, he was a financial planning major because his dad was a financial planner. And I remember me and his dad were hanging out because his dad would really, spend a lot of time with us college guys. Great dude. And he was a financial planner like in the panhandle of Texas in a small town called Canadian, Texas. And he was really trying to sell me on being a financial planner. And I remember him saying, he was like, there's no other job where you can make this type of money and still have this type of flexibility for your family and have this type of generational impact on people. And it was just kind of like, dang, like this actually kind of sounds really dope. So then I took my first introductory course to financial planning, and I remember we were doing a case study, and I was sitting inside of our little financial planning computer lab, and I think it was like 2 a.m. I was with one of my friends, like grinding it out, and I was like, I kind of love this. Like, this is actually really dope. Like, even though we were working for a fake simulated client, like I found it passionate. So that's how I got introduced into financial planning. That's the reason why I changed my major and all that good jazz.
So let's talk about after changing the major, going through, and then let's jump to the process, because I hope a lot of younger advisors or even college students are going to watch or listen. Hopefully watch. I'm trying to get the YouTube numbers up, but yeah. Whatever it may be, however they consume. Thank you. What was the process like of finishing up college and trying to find that first job? So I'll set the table. I went to a small Division III school in Indiana, 1,200 students. Like, it's smaller than my high school. We had no placement. Like, I fell into the business by luck. I tell people all the time, I'm extremely lucky to have found this because I basically graduated not knowing what I wanted to do. You, on the other hand, are going through the program, you're interning at Plan Corp, but I mean, you're a little lucky to have the Plan Corp opportunity, but what was the process like, and what advice would you give to those, let's big picture, those trying to get into the profession, whether it is graduating college or changing careers or whatever it might be?
Yeah. So I saw Josh Brown actually posted an Instagram post saying whenever it's something along these lines of whenever people ask for career advice, sometimes it's hard for him to give it to them because they're not willing to do what he did. And I don't say this with any arrogance. Like, really, this is reality. I was really willing to do whatever, like I remember my junior year of college. So this was before I got my internship for Plan Corp. I really wanted to be in Austin, and I knew I wanted to work for a fee-only firm. So I literally went on Google, typed in fee-only planners in Austin, and I kid you not, I called every single one and asked to send them my resume. So I was really hitting the ground. I was pounding the pavement, as some people say, to find an opportunity because I just kind of had it in me, So I would say that above all, I was really lucky for the industry that I was trying to get involved in was a really welcoming industry. So I would say for anyone who's wanting to get involved in the wealth management, financial planning, financial services industry, I mean, you should just reach out to people because people are genuinely willing and happy to help you. And I actually thought about doing this the other day of changing my email signature. Instead of it saying financial planner at Plan Corp, I want to actually change it back to financial planning intern because people are so much more willing to help people who are in college or younger. It's just like, so yeah, I would really say just reach out. Like, if you're on FinTwit, on Instagram, whatever it is, just reach out to someone, and I'm sure that they'll be willing to have a Zoom call with you, kind of like you, Tyrone, Desarte, even Peter. Before I even started interning at Plan Corp, people were just really willing to help me out.
What's going to end up happening is you're going to end up doing the same as we did for you, and there were people who did that for me. Like, it's those of us that have had the opportunity to talk to people that we respect and realize that, hey, they end up being human beings as well, and a lot of them are willing to help out if they feel like the ask is genuine. You just pay it forward and you keep on doing it. And one of the things you'll learn, which is why I love having those conversations, is usually when you're on the ask side, you're the younger person asking the person you're looking up to, you don't realize how much they get out of it as well. But when I talk to a young advisor or an advisor looking to make a change, it really excites me just because I've been fortunate enough to attract bright individuals that are fun to be around, and they just kind of instill more excitement in me and more desire to do what it is that I do. So I leave that meeting super excited to do what it is that I do or share what it is that I'm excited about. And I also get to talk what I think is important and try to spread what I think is the way to look at planning. So I think that when you start getting these calls, you hear people complaining about, the pick your brain phone calls. And I think they end up being just as beneficial for the person on the other end than the person asking. So, and that's going to come your way. And I know that you're going to pick the phone up, hop on Zoom, whatever it may be, and have those conversations because you're going to end up paying it forward. And it's going to make you better as well. And I just believe that when you do good things keep on coming. So, well, let's talk Plan Corp because, again, you landed at a great place. Peter is a friend of mine. It's a company that I respect from afar. I'm not too deep into the trenches about everything at Plan Corp, but I know enough through Peter. Not all of your peers were lucky to kind of go into that situation. I'm guessing a lot of them are going to go the path that I went, that they land at a firm that just hires anybody, go sell your friends. They're going to realize that that's not the right path, or the support's not there, and they're just going to find their way. If you didn't have Plan Corp and you're a young advisor coming in, what would be an ideal career path that could be set forth for somebody? Or maybe what Plan Corp is doing is the ideal and we need more firms to know about that. Because today there is no career path. It's get your Series 7 and jump on in, where I don't think that is attractive to a lot of up and coming advisors and college students. So if you could write the book, this is the way that the career path for a young financial advisor should be, what would you write?
Man, I feel like you're about to get a novel. I would say
we need it. We need ideas flowing. And I will share an idea that I have that I'm about to have by the time this releases, the proof of concept will be out there. So I have an idea as well, but I want to hear yours, and take as much time as you need.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say I have a very unique perspective on it because coming from the Texas Tech PFP program, majority of my friends, this is not a slight to anybody else who graduated from the program, but majority of the students who were really involved, and especially a lot of our alumni that would come back, worked for fee-only RIAs. So it was actually always the goal to go that route. And I would say, going off of that, if there was I guess you can say, desired path, I would say what I've experienced so far has been awesome, but then I'm gonna add a little bit of a caveat to it. So on one hand, I get to still work with high net worth individuals and help them plan for retirement, or if they're in retirement, as far as estate planning, tax planning, insurance planning, investment planning, all that good stuff, and really get to go into the weeds on the financial planning side of things. But still, it is absolutely a very personal, relational part that we get to participate in. But then on top of that, we here at Plan Corp, we actually get to take financial wellness calls. And with that, we get to speak with individuals at different, I guess you can say, large corporations or large firms. And with that being said, it's been really cool because I've been able to, early on in my career, have the chance to be able to talk to someone and be able to give them actually financial planning tips, and give them different 401k recommendations, and really help them process different things. And really seeing both sides of it, I think I've realized the importance of the reason why people really enjoy financial planning is because they enjoy the people. They enjoy the people that they work with. And I think with younger advisors, a lot of my friends who are in the RIA space, what's happened is they will work for a bigger RIA, but then they only work with older individuals. And not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but it's the people that I work with who are in their 50s, they get really excited for client meetings because it's not only is this client a friend in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of relatability. They have kids, or their kids are approaching college. So it's so much deeper for them. And I've seen a really big burnout from my peers who've come into the industry, and they feel kind of drowned because there's no sense of relatability. So I say that to say, I think a desired path would be people younger advisors do need the chance to be able to actually get into the nitty gritty of financial planning, but I still do think it's important to find a way to allow younger advisors to speak with and actually give advice to people who are closer to their age, like, and I would even add, like, sometimes it's frustrating with me whenever I see like advisors on Twitter or just advisors write different things and they're just talking, they just use the word retirement, plan for retirement. And I, like, being a 24-year-old younger guy, like, I'm like, retirement's even hard for me to conceptualize, like, and if I talk to my friends about maxing out their 401k, I'm like, this will help you out in retirement. Like, what is that? Like, we're single, we don't even have kids. Like, why? Like, retirement is a very, like, abstract idea. So that's just an example of, if they had, younger advisors that they were in tune with, they would be able to say, hey, maybe just talk to people who are closer to our generation of saying, hey, maybe saving your 401k so you can have your investments empower the goals that you have in your life, like whatever it is, so that makes it a little bit more relatable to me of like, I don't know what I'm going to want whenever I turn 65, but I know I want some extra DJ boards around or some more sneakers. So whatever that version of that is at 65, I want to save for it, so I don't know if that answer was direct, but that's what I would say. I think is a good track for people entering the industry would be having the mixture of getting in depth on the financial planning side of things, but then also still being able to have the relatability of working with people around their age.
No, I think that's a great answer. And I have a side tangent we can go on for a quick second. I think if I were in your shoes, I would be talking about a new definition of retirement. I don't think that the retirement, like, I'll probably never retire. But yeah. I think that the career path is going to look different to where you grind when you're younger and you push a little bit when you first start to have kids. But I think my generation and younger, once they value the time with family. So grinding in your 40s is not as attractive as it used to be, but it might be more attractive to pull back, scale back a little bit, whether that means save a little bit less or work a little bit less and make less income, whatever it might be, scale it back to be present with your kids, have those experiences, and then run it back up when they get out of school, they're in college, and you can finish another 10 or 15 years on the back end. And one of the things I have a blog post I've started I want to finish that we talk about compound interest and like save today so you can retire in the future. But what we don't talk about is the benefit of compound interest if you can start early and what it means in your mid-career. So if you can save early, accumulate, and invest, then if you can get to a point in your middle of your career, again, where I'm talking about maybe scaling back, if you have a big enough nest egg, compound interest can then take that nest egg even further that you may not have to save. So that gives you flexibility in the middle of your career. You say, you know what? We're going to go live it up, and I'm only going to save for my 401k match and quit maxing it out so we can go do stuff. But I've got a sizable nest egg that, assuming we see the returns we've grown accustomed to, not over the last 10 years, but just historical averages, it's going to compound at the rate that I need, and I don't necessarily have to save a lot more. And then I'll come fill it back up at the back end. That's it. Freedom. That gives you freedom to pursue things in the middle of your life, whether it's family, maybe you've been in the workforce for 20 years and you've got an idea for a business. Why don't you want to do a business? Oh, I have to save for retirement. Well, you're good. Now you can stop saving and pour that into a business and maybe change your life. So I want to get people thinking about this idea of, yes, compound interest, let's get on that, but let's save early so compound interest alleviates your need to save in the middle of your career so you can do more and then, again, top it off at the back end. So I would start talking about this new vision of retirement that's going to be more in line with the values of, I hate to say this, your generation. Like, yeah. I look at you and Thomas and Trayton and all the guys you're friends with. I'm like, they're my peers. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be 40 next year. I got 3 kids, and these guys are, when I look at you guys, and the women advisors that are the same age, when I look at what you all are doing right now, the awareness that you have, and the way you're approaching the business. Like at 24, I had no idea. You are all going to be so much further ahead of me. I'm jealous. Like, I don't want to go back. I love my life. I don't want to go back, but I wish I knew when I was 24 what you know to put myself in that position instead of be wandering for the first 10 years of my career. All right. Side tangent back. We'll come back unless you have any comments about retirement.
Yeah, I was just going to say briefly, like, I love the example that you gave, because for me, like, and I've always said this, I'm super, super thankful for Peter. Like, he's really been a huge impact in my career and just life, but I would even consider him as like a friend, but Peter's like 36, so it's like there is a difference in our age, but now I have relatability of like thinking of, man, whenever I have kids, like, how is my work-life balance going to look? Like, it's so much easier for me to relate for that. So if someone were to come to me and like, hey, man, you should save for Odaro's 35 or 36-year-old self, it's a lot easier because I actually have like a relationship with someone who is 35 or 36. So it's like I can understand the actual tangible benefits, and it doesn't feel like some random stranger that I'm saving for in the future, because it's like 65-year-old Odaro is a completely different person. You know what I mean? Like, Odaro at 65, I don't know what he's going to think, because I remember me at 15, I had a completely different thought process. So it's just reiterating what you were saying, but I just thought that was helpful for my brain to attach both of those together.
Well, let's not blow Peter's ego up anymore.
Oh, no.
Now
he's old.
He deserves every bit of it. But let's stay with Plan Corp. So he actually gave a talk in the AGC, and he also was on Kitsis' podcast talking about how he built his business through the email newsletter he did. And then since he's gone on and blog and book and all that stuff. But one of the things that he said in our community was that Plan Corp actually, part of their business plan is to celebrate the individuals at their firm and encourage people like you, advisors like you, to go out and have a voice, as long as it's in line with the company line, and do a blog and have a podcast. Not very many firms are there. And I love that about them. That's one of the things I respect, is that Plan Corp understands the future of the profession and what's going to be important. They also understand what is important to attract the best advisors for the future, because you've grown up in an age where you can create a brand, you could go be a DJ and do all of these things. And so you've grown up with social media, and not only are you wanting to be able to continue to do that, the clients that you're going to work with are going to be looking for that, and Plan Corp gets it. So how important it was in your decision to stay with Plan Corp, because you had the internship, that they were willing to support you building your personal brand, which is so smart on their part, because that ends up helping Plan Corp. But was that a important feature, or was that kind of the cherry on top?
No, I would say for myself, it was extremely important, because I knew I had access to work at other firms that were fee-only RIAs, where I would get really great experience of learning like the planning side of things and being able to work under really smart people. But I think it was a huge separator of the fact that Plan Corp was going to allow me to do something like that, as being a younger advisor, starting at the age of 23, like literally letting me have my own website. It's like unheard of, and I think even as you added, it kind of showed me that they weren't, how do I want to word this? They weren't stuck in their ways. They were actually like future focused, like actually looking to what is on the horizon, because the reality is, like, and I think that you obviously know this, but it's going to come to a point where I don't think people are going to always necessarily say, hey, I just want to work with Plan Corp. People specifically would want to say, no, I want to work with Odaro, or I want to work with Thomas, or I want to work with Justin, right? Like whoever the person is, like I think that it's a lot easier for the consumer to attach themselves to the individual, i.e. the content that we put out. So I think that was a huge part of my decision, and I like the people here too, so that was a cherry on top.
So the reason most firms don't want it is ego, is one of the reasons, especially on smaller firms. Plan Corp's a little bit different. It's a bigger organization, but there is but ego from leadership of that. If it's a smaller firm, 5, 6, 7 advisors, there's the advisor that started it. It's always been about them. Their name is probably the name of the firm, and they want all that spotlight. So they don't want somebody underneath them getting more shine than them. They miss the whole fact that if the younger person's getting more shine, that's still more business for the firm. And at the end of the day, isn't the goal to be more profitable, not feed your ego? So yeah, to me, it's obvious. And I love, to me, what it also tells me about Plan Corp is that they're confident in their ability to retain good talent. Because another thing that advisors are afraid of, well, if I bring Odaro in and he builds this big presence, he's going to leave and that revenue goes away with him, or whatever it might be. And yes, that's a risk. But if you take good care of your employees, not everybody wants to go out on their own. A lot of times people go out on their own because they're not happy where they're at. But if you're able to take care of them and put them in a position for they continue to grow and see their importance and continue to invest and pour into them, like, what's the reason to leave? Because when you leave, you bring on some headaches that may not be worth it if you're getting everything else that you want. You leave when the headaches are worth the freedom to be able to do the things that you can't do because of where you're at. So, like, prime example, when Thomas joined the firm last June, day one, we launched The Long Game. He had his blog day one. Podcast shows up a month later. And that was one of the first things I did. And Thomas owns his. So I think, well, you guys talk regularly, and I think you know this. Going back to my business model, where by the time this launches, we've already made it public. We've already notified clients, but we're in the process of spinning Thomas off. My responsibilities of on-ramp are growing. I've kind of revisited where I want to see RLS Wealth grow, and I want to see it stay the size that it is so I can do more on-ramp. And Thomas is growing like a weed, which is not best for RLS, and it's not best for him to be contained because I want to stay the same size. So we're launching, and we're going to celebrate it. So this ties into my proof of concept last year, and I'm curious to get your feedback on this. Last year, I spent time building out a business plan, talking to mentors to create like a studio for advisors. Take the venture studio concept, bring it to advisors. Identify good advisors. You would have been amazing. Bring them in, give them the blueprint, give them the technology, help them build their brand, build out their website, because I have a web guy and I really enjoy that. Get them quickly to a certain level of growth and then spin them off. And then instead of you paying while you grow, you're here for free. You keep your revenue and then take a small equity stake in your firm when you launch. Now I'm a silent partner. I'm just there to support, help you grow, elevate you, and then help more people own their business. So to me, that's the career path. And it wasn't intentional, but Thomas is actually the proof of concept. Thomas came in, he followed my blueprint. He put in all of the reps, did all of the work. And within a little over a year, he's at a position where he can launch his own firm and be wickedly profitable from day one. And him and Trayton are joining up, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. I can't wait to see it. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to write about it. We're going to podcast about it. And I also want to use this as an opportunity to show our profession that you can have a separation at a firm without it being where somebody disappears. Because usually it's like, so-and-so left. We don't know where he went. We're happy to help you. Otherwise, good luck finding him. It's like they disappeared. Like, instead, let's make it easy for clients. Hey, here's where Thomas is going. I'm supporting it. And oh, by the way, the last 2 months, my firm has been building out his infrastructure so that all the workflows, all the technology that you're used to are already set up for his new firm. And we don't have to do that, but I want him to succeed, and I want you as the client to have a good experience. So we're going to do what's right, and we're going to make sure that he's set up for success. So I think that's another potential business model as well, or a career path of you get a little bit of experience, you find out who you are, you learn how to kind of get clients and service them, but then you come to like a studio to give you that catapult into the next level. But he's going to walk with his blog. He's going to walk with his podcast. I'm going to change my website to say, hey, if you're looking for Thomas, he's over here. We support him. We're happy for him, and this is a great thing. So I wanted to throw that studio idea out as another potential career path idea for our profession as well.
No, I think that's a really dope idea. I think it's just making me excited. I'm sorry, like I'm smiling this whole time because I do know Thomas, and it's really exciting just to even hear like the opportunities that he's having, and I always get hyped whenever I see some of the dudes that we have like in our little study group like put out content and just like see them have different interviews. Like it really like lights a fire inside of me. But yeah, no, I think that's a really great, it almost reminds me of like a residency program in some ways, like for doctors, for them to like learn other like practitioners and then get sent off.
Yep. All right, let's go back, and I'm gonna hush up some more instead of sharing some of my thoughts. You're the star of the show. Going back to no money, no problems, and building out your personal brand and support. Why is that important to you to be able to do that as you think about building your practice and building your business?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of two things. One, I know the reality of it is like, man, I was talking to some people at the firm about this. Like I have friends on Instagram, and I think this is just a part of like the fact that I literally grew up with social media. Like I think in 5th grade, the iPhone had come out, and I had like a MySpace like in 3rd grade. So it's like me and my generation grew up with social media, And seeing friends who have like 400 or 500 followers on Instagram have really dope like color patterns, have really great content. And it's like these people have like 400 followers and their Instagram looks better than mine. So it's just like the standard of content I feel is at such a high level. And I don't even want to just say it's a high level. It's a standard period, like for you to be able to put out good content to have a successful business. So I think me knowing that, it was important for me to be successful in any industry. I had to have some type of like content present. But then second, I would just say it was genuinely a passion of mine. And like I said, like the area that I grew up in, like I had friends whose parents were lawyers, who worked at NASA, who's like had millions of dollars, but then at the same time had homies on the football team who were on food stamps, you know? And it's just like I noticed how similar in a lot of ways those people were. It was really just the opportunity that they were given that really affected their lifestyle. So I always told people whenever I created No Money, Mo Problems, I really just wanted to be able to create stuff to help my friends. Like that was really the reality of it. So like whenever I saw friends who were doing like day trading, or like if it was like Forex or whatever, like learning about the efficient market hypothesis in school, like I felt really passionate to explain to them of like the benefits of being a long-term investor. So it's just like I really did start all of this, or have the desire to do all of this, just so I can impact the people who I knew. So yeah.
Do you think you'd be able to work in a place where you couldn't be yourself, couldn't put all that out there?
Absolutely not. I feel like I would be like quenching who Odaro is. Yeah,
I agree. And that's something I've talked about before, so I'll keep it short. I didn't realize that until I launched my firm. Like if you would have talked to me at the previous employer, I wouldn't have said I was unhappy. Like I thought I was happy. But then coming here and being able to fully express myself and be who I am, and then create content to share those messages and try to educate, like I didn't realize what I was missing until I had it. So yeah, when I look at you, I was like, you have way too much personality, and you're way like too exciting to be around to contain that. Like you can't bottle that up. You got to let that go. So I didn't think you'd be able to. I knew what the answer was going to be. So tell me more about when you think about your approach to creating content. You touched on it a little bit about you were initially starting because you wanted to help it, like create it for your friends to help them. But I love, like, and it's a word everybody throws around, but I love the authenticity that I see. Like your videos are on that couch, and you got the Jack Boys on one side, you got the cars in the back. Like that's like I feel like I'm in the living room with you. Is that intentional? Was that just by necessity? Like, hey, this is what I got, so I'm gonna go and kind of how do you approach creating your content?
Yeah, thank you for shouting. And then I got the Dave Chappelle poster right next to me too. But yeah, that's definitely a part of it, because one of my favorite podcasts and one of my favorite podcasters, period, is Joe Budden. And I think I've like learned a lot from just his content creation. Of whenever I listen to him, like I feel the one thing I feel like is like, oh, me too. Or I feel like I know Joe. And their podcast, they do it in their engineer's house, Parks. So they literally like all sit on a couch, and it's like they have posters in the back. And I just love it because I feel like almost like I'm at the barbershop again, you know, like I'm like kicking it with my friends. And I wanted to take that and be able to bring it to the financial services industry, because I felt like a lot of content that I saw like early on, like it just felt like snooty, you know, like it felt like someone was wearing a tie. It felt like nobody could be real. Like I even wrote a blog post, like whenever I was in college, like I suck with money too. Like I'm not going to sit here and like lie to people and say that like, I'm just saving every single dime. Like, you know, like sometimes I like spending money on clothes. Like, and I just wanted to be able to create something that was around finances, because I know that people already feel really anxious, and that people have a lot of anxiety whenever it comes to money because of like family backgrounds, different situations. So I wanted to be able to create something that just felt honest, like, you know, like that felt like authentic and could just be really digestible for any individual. Because I wasn't really into the game of making myself sound like so smart and use these big investment terms that no one understands, because it's like, what is that for? You know, like, yeah. So I think that was always my desire whenever I started creating content.
I can assure you that the authenticity and being yourself and not using those big words is going to be a huge benefit for you. It's going to carry you a long way. So keep it with it. And I also want to point out to all the young folks out there, I did know that was Jack Boys in the background, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
like in the way the camera set up, I can't see Dave Chappelle right now. So let's go into a little bit more of a serious part of the conversation before we kind of get to the end. I want to get your take as a young advisor, and I don't mean young in a negative way. You're 24, so I just mean it by you're new to the profession. I got 17 years in the game, so you're young to me. What's our profession getting wrong? Like when I sit back and give an honest look at the profession, it's an aging workforce. We all know the average age of advisors is getting up there, but they're holding on to the past. And like what from the past needs to go, and what are advisors missing? So it's a little bit of a lens of a younger advisor, but also still not being so far away from not being an advisor and being close to your peers. Like, what are advisors getting wrong, and what do they need to drop, and what do they need to focus on for the future? Because this is the advisor of tomorrow. So what do we need to be focusing on for the future?
Yeah, I would say we just need to focus on the client. And I know that a lot of people or a lot of practitioners would say that it's always been client focused, but I think that with the wealth management industry always being like 10 or 20 years back is actually proof that it hasn't always been about the client, because you're more worried about sticking to your way. And it like almost breaks my heart sometimes talking with individuals, like, on some of these financial wellness calls, like if it's a younger individual, just the amount of embarrassment that people feel, or the amount of anxiety that people feel whenever it comes to talking to a financial advisor, because, they might have been shamed from other financial advisors, or just seeing other content. They might feel this sense of like, I can never talk to a financial advisor because this is going to be way too embarrassing, because sometimes I spend too much money going out for drinks with friends, and it's just like, I feel whenever we create this sense of like talking with these really big words, or we make people not feel included, I feel like we're actually not progressing the profession in a lot of ways, So I would say, I think that's really, and I don't know if that's necessarily direct, but I think the industry is really just behind on being relatable. Like that would be the big thing. Like, I don't think that a lot of people feel a sense of relatability whenever it comes to the financial services industry.
And sticking with the future, what do you think? What are you hearing, or what do you think clients are going to want from us advisors and expect from us in the future?
I would say actual in-depth life planning. And a lot of these things might sound, I guess you can say, what's the word? Like given, but I don't think that it's actually like happening with different clients. So a prime example, I think what you just talked about, of people working really hard early on, and then afterwards, like around like 40, spending more time with family, and then whenever their kids go off to college, kind of ramping it back up. Like, I even feel like a lot of clients wouldn't even feel the place to express that to their financial advisor, because they feel like they have this very defined path of, once you hit 65, you retire, you start living off of your portfolio, and then also you can give some money to your kids if it's necessary, but let's spend out, like, like it's a very, like, I would say there's really not a lot of customization that is actually inside of it. So I feel like a part of me forgot the specific question you asked, but I think what I was really trying to get at is just making things like actually customizable to the individual to feel empowered inside of their financial plan is what I think the future will hold, because, the clients are going to demand it eventually. And I think the advisors who actually adopt that will actually see the benefit of it.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that the profession needs to work on the soft skills of being
100%.
able to listen and let people express what it is they want and give them a safe place. And honestly, I think we also have to learn how to help get that out of people. Scott Frank is the best at it. Like, I've done podcasts with him, and if you're interested in life planning, like, talk to Scott. But to give people the permission to really put out there what it is that they want, and not what it is they think they're supposed to do. Like, we've got to recondition just the way everybody thinks is, you don't have to go to college and have 1.9 kids and work. Like, you can create the life that you want, and you really have more control over than you realize. Doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it doesn't come without sacrifice, but it is possible. And you just need somebody that can sit down from the financial side of things and hear all of that and help you figure out what the opportunity costs are and how to structure things and what do you need to do to make it happen. So I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I think that I would echo that if the advisors that figure that out sooner rather than later are going to be better off, especially as this wealth transfer happens, because the younger generation isn't going to be told no. they're just going to do it on their own. And, then it's going to be less people who are looking for advisors. But I don't think they want to go do it on their own, but they're not going to listen to, no, you can't do that. You have to live life the way the textbook says. They're going to want to do it on their own terms. And as an advisor, to me, that's the only way I want to plan. Like, that's exciting to me. I don't want to go in and do a 30-year career planning. I want to figure out, how do we take sabbaticals? How do we do big plans and still hit that goal to where you hit a day of financial freedom where you don't have to work? To me, that's what makes it exciting.
Could I just add, I would want to add one thing. I remember I was on, I got to get interviewed for Taylor's podcast, and I don't know if this part will be in it, but at the end, he just asked if there was anything that I would say to his listeners, which he did say his listeners are a little bit of like an older crowd, like people who are approaching retirement. And one thing I said was, it might not be easy for some of them to listen to me or want to listen to me, because they might feel a little bit more relatable to someone like Taylor. But I said, like, I'm going to be your kid's financial advisor, because the reality is, like, whenever your kids get to the play, like, I'm not saying all hope is lost in older advisors, but it's like the reality, people want to work with someone that they feel relatable to. And it's easier for your children to feel relatable to someone like me, or another example like Thomas or Trayton, TJ, like people like us. It'd be a lot easier for your children to hire us. So it's like, you might not feel the necessity, but it's like, we're going to be the face of the industry one day. And like people's kids or individuals who are younger are going to want to work with people like us. So yeah.
Wait, so you were on Taylor's podcast first? Wait, that's on me. That's on me. I didn't ask sooner. Has it dropped yet?
Nah, it hasn't dropped yet.
I'm pushing this through so I can beat him. He beats me at everything. He beats me at everything, so I gotta drop it first. I was gonna do like a welcome back episode, like, hey, the podcast is back. Here's what to expect. Odaro's jumping over that, and then I'll come back with it. All right,
I love it.
So, like, I want to end the planning conversation before we get a couple of fun things real quick with something serious. When you think about however many years ahead, when you're done being an advisor, like, what do you hope your legacy as a financial advisor is going to be?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say I'm really, and this is probably going to change with time, but I would say as of now, I would really hope that I impact young individuals, or empower young individuals to actually feel a place of welcome inside of the financial services industry on one hand, but then second, on another hand, I really hope that clients will be able to have a better experience with their financial advisor, that they would actually feel welcome, that they would actually feel known, and they would actually feel comfortable to express those different things. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we're working with humans, and humans kind of want to do what they want to do. So it's like, if we don't get that truth out of them, in some way, it's just going to come back out, So I always, whenever I talk to some people, and it usually is individuals who are younger, and if we're building out a financial plan, if I say, hey, what are some of your goals? Like, it's always very like structured. I want to have a house, like, I want to get married. But then whenever I say, like, hey, what are some of your dreams? Like, dream about some of the things that you desire in life. And it's like, man, like, like, I might be in the Bay Area right now, but I've always wanted to live on some land, like with my family. And like, it's always been a desire to have a coffee shop. So it's like, whenever I talk about like saving to your individual brokerage account, it's not just that you're saving to your individual brokerage account. It's like, no, you can actually buy that land one day, or you can actually have that coffee shop one day. And it's like, I feel like I really hope that can become the new norm for individuals inside of the financial planning industry, and people who are actually trying to get the services inside of the financial industry. And the last thing I would say is access really to financial education across the board. So no matter what anyone's educational level is, no matter what anyone's like income level is, I really do want to be able to find a way to make it more accessible to people in general, because I gotta have a really cool opportunity in college being able to do financial education meetings for people in the local community. And I think that really shaped me in becoming really just the man and the advisor that I am today. But yeah, I don't know if that was fully direct, but that's my desire.
Hey, there's no right answer. This is your legacy, so that was perfect. All right, so my final question before we plug your social media and we do a couple fun things, and this is a shout out to Emily Bender. So she's actually one of my first guests as well as with the coming back, but she was at a DFA presentation that I was at. She has some walkout music, and I was like, I like it. So my question to everybody is going to be, you're on stage, keynote speaker, which you will be one day. If it was today, what are you walking out to? What's your walkout song?
Oh man. Okay. So I'm going to have to say my song would be, I would say my song would be Essence by Wizkid, which he's from Nigeria, Afrobeats artist, but I would have the remix with Justin Bieber in it because it kind of goes hard. But just because with me being a Nigerian American guy, I gotta salute to my heritage, so I would throw some Afrobeats on there. And then part 2 would probably be Still Tippin', just because I'm from Houston, so I gotta throw that in there. But yeah,
I never thought I would hear adding Justin Bieber to a song makes it go hard.
Hey, listen, Justin's been on a run, like Peaches, and then this remix on Essence. He's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of going hard. I don't know what's gotten into him, but he's been spitting.
I respect it. All right, real quick, shoe check. What are you wearing today?
No, I don't have my sneakers with me right now, but in my room, the shoes that I was wearing before my toes got a little too hot, I was wearing the new Air Jordan 1 Lows.
Okay.
The neutral gray. I'm a huge fan of the Jordan 1 retro lows, not the ones with the bigger lip, but the retro lows are my favorite silhouette out of all Jordans, and it's not even close. So that's what I was wearing before him.
So for those of you that don't know why, Odaro and I and a couple other people periodically have a shoe game challenge on Twitter. So we would challenge each other on Fridays to say who had the best Jordans. Willie usually won. His collection's ridiculous. But every once in a while I hang in there. So I have some Jordan 1s that have been crossed over. They have zoom in them, but I like them because they're made with recycled material. So like those watching this on YouTube can see like the foam and stuff. I tend to try to stay with the OG colors. So like the majority of my J's are the original colors. I like the original colorway, but I like these a lot. So I was like, I can't come on and not have some Jordans to throw up there. So
I'm sorry I didn't wear any. I'm actually wearing slides right now, so that's embarrassing. But I promise I was wearing some Jordan 1 Lows before this.
All right. So real quick, where can everybody follow you? We talked about No Money, No Problems. What's the website for that? What's your social media? And then I'm going to have you take us out with a freestyle, which is how this whole thing came to be.
Man,
and I'm going to do my best. You're not going to hear it, so I apologize for that. But I've got some beats from my friend Niall Bear that are just chilling in the vault. Tyler, my video guy, I'm going to have him edit it in. So hopefully we can edit in some Niall Bear beats with that as well. So where can we find you? And then when you're ready, hit us with a few bars.
All right, yeah. I'm going to have to pull out the phone because I don't got them all memorized. But it reminds me of almost like, what was that, on Tigger's show whenever the dudes were in the basement freestyling. But you guys can find me on nomoneymoproblems.com. So that's no money mo problems, mo.com. And on social media, it's at Just Odaro on Instagram. So JustOdaro. And then Twitter is at the Odaro, and it's TheOdaro. And then follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Odaro Aisueni. Pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it inside of the video. My name's spelled right there, and I'm sure it'll be inside of the video notes. But yeah, those are all the places you guys can find me at.
All right, I'm going to say my thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow Odaro, and this is the Advisor of Tomorrow. Sometimes we're going to be talking about things for the Advisor of Tomorrow, and we're also going to be talking to the advisors of tomorrow, and Odaro is one of those. So I'm glad that we have connected. I look forward to continuing to stay connected through the years and watching you grow, because you're just going to skyrocket. Like your ceiling is extremely high, my friend, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be even more fun that I'm going to get to play this podcast back one day and be like, he was on my podcast way before when. I'm just going to be like, don't forget us little people down here. So be sure to check the show notes for all the links to Odaro's stuff. We're on YouTube on iTunes and Spotify and all the podcasts. Throw some likes, throw some comments, help more advisors find this. I'm excited to bring the podcast back. Thanks to OnRamp Invest for making this part of the OnRamp Invest family podcast. And with that, I will let Odaro take us out with some fire.
I'm going to try to flip this. This beat's cold. Let me shout some people out, man. I really feel like Tigger's basement. Shout out Houston, Texas, nomoneymoproblems.com. Shout out to FinTwit. Caitlin Cook, can you follow me back? That's all I wanted to ask before I started rapping. That's it. Yeah. check me out. Yeah, I might blow. Yeah, I might go. Pronounce the name. It's Odaro, not Odaro. The flow make you cold, make you shiver. Freestyling, make it touch your liver. Man, I'm rapping sicker than the other dude. Man, I've been rapping since the other dudes. Back in the lunchroom in middle school, beating on the table with the pencil. Man, we rapping with the stencils. Watch me flip this, please watch me kick this. Yes, you're my witness, yes, it's my business. Financial advisor, man, I'm a writer, a blogger, a podcaster. I don't know if that rhymes, but I got the time. Man, I'm looking fine, man, I'm like a dime. Peace is likely, you ain't never seen a financial planner who's like me. Got the Jordan ones that's looking really clean and icy. Man, I flip this, man, I kick this. I already said that, but I bring it back. In high school, I used to run like a 4.2 flat, or maybe a little slower than that, or maybe a 4.7. I'm trying to get some equity and pull up in the Porsche 911, or maybe M3s, or the Tesla Model 3. I'm trying to get the all black like Justin, you see? Yeah, they see me. Yeah, they see me. I'm a young dude from the new school. Yeah, how I do this. Boys already know Houston. Yeah, you know we screwed this. Where we swinging, banging, switching lanes. Man, they already know I've been put onto the game since '97. Boy was like 11. Actually, that was the year that the boy was born. But I'm born in the storm. I'm born like a thorn. I was born on the throne. Man, I'm going home to Nigeria. Please to check the criteria. Shout to Destarte Yarn Wave from Liberia, the West Africa side. Yeah, that's how we ride. You boys already know with the flow I never live. Man, I'm kinda nice. Yeah, I'm kinda icy. Favorite shoe brand, not Adidas, yes it's Nike. Check silver stripes, yeah, Drake said it right. On the freestyle, the top of the dome, I'm kinda nice. I'm spitting, I'm getting it. Man, I'm never ripping this. Man, they already know I'm rapping for the benefits of my people. Man, I'm kinda lethal. Man, they already know. Man, get the needle for the vaccination. No, I'm not playing. 2 shots Moderna. That's all I'm saying. I did it back in March. That's where I start. Man, back in the day of middle school, we used to fart and play doorknob. It was kinda dumb, but man, I wish I can go back, cause we used to have all the fun. Nah, I got all the bills. They kinda stacking up. I'm like, damn, this financial planning game kinda tough. I gotta get my CFP, but not my CFA, and maybe MBA, so the Twitter community can actually debate that. I don't know if you actually caught that, but I'm back. But I'm back to rap on that, yeah. I like rap snacks, I like to rap like that. I like to rap back in the day when we used to rap kinda slow. Back in the day, my hair used to glow like Odell Beckham. Watch how I flexin', man. My dad's first name is Flakes, and if you didn't know, it's actually an English name, man. I put you on game. I think I might try to come back on. I don't think it's over. Yeah, check it. I went to Texas Tech, that was the school. Pulled up on campus, I was the new dude. They like he kinda cool, yeah he kinda smooth. Then I put the dudes on game, then I was the cool dude. They was like he kinda like, dang. All right, Justin, thank you. I told you I was gonna try to rap the whole time, but that's it. Peace.